Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about the new palette from Bella Beaute Bar, and I'm really excited about this because this is the Angles of Illumination palette. Now, I am honestly not sure if this is a re-release of their first one because this one doesn't have a number on it, and the Angles of Illumination 3 that they came out with last year ended up being was it the third best palette of 2022? But here's what it looks like. So it's basically an all shimmer palette. This is the one from last year, like I said. And I love this palette so much. So I'm really excited to be dipping into this one. And this one is launching on the 15th. I will have the time and everything down below in my description box because I don't actually know right now. But I'm going to do a quick video with this. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to do more than one look. I actually got back from a trip yesterday and I need to film, edit, and post this video today. So yeah, that's just kind of what we're doing, but I'm excited to dig into this. I will show you some swatches of this palette. The owner did say that two of the shades in here ended up looking a little bit more similar than she meant for them to, which are the shadows called Moonlight and Gleam if you end up getting this palette. I will say though, personally for myself, when I swatched this palette, I felt like there are just a lot of shades in general in this palette that kind of has like the same vibe to it, and I just feel like, did we need all of these in one palette? Like, especially the first row, I feel like every shade looks very similar. It's like, yeah, they do have like different shifts to them, but are the shifts really different enough that on the eyes they're going to look different enough? I don't know, it's going to be up to you to decide, but I do think it's a beautiful palette. They felt really nice, and they're really, really nice and shiny and creamy, and I'm sure they're going to look beautiful on the eyes, but I do feel like, honestly, the first two rows, maybe we didn't need all of these, and I think that's why I really like this one so much, because if you can see like side by side, there is just so much more sort of variety in like depth and tone in this palette compared to this one. Like, this one just has a lot of like blues and purples and turquoises. Like, I feel like half the palette, even more so, that is sort of that, and it's maybe a little too much. I think my favorite row in this palette is honestly the bottom row, because I feel like the shades are just all kind of different to each other. So I don't know, do you need this? I'm not sure. This palette is a little bit cheaper than they intended just because of two shades being too similar. So it's basically these two. They have very much like the same sort of base to them. Anyway, we're gonna get into doing a look with this. This shade is definitely my favorite. It is such a beautiful iridescent shade, and I love those kind of shades. So we're gonna do something with these. I'm not gonna do an all shimmer look because that's not really what I do, but I don't want my makeup to be like too out there today. I'm gonna start by priming my eyes. My husband and I are actually looking to buy a new house, so we are seeing our first one today, so that is really, really exciting. And I don't want my makeup to be like, you know, super out there. So I'll probably do a bit of a, you know, neutral crease and do one of these, or probably two of these on the lid so we can see what they look like. But yeah, that's kind of the plan. I probably won't be sharing too much of the process just because, like I've said before, I do like keeping our personal life private and not put it on the internet, which is just like my choice. But yeah, just know I'm really, obviously really excited. It's going to be so fun to just kind of see what's on the market right now and see if we can find something. We're not necessarily in a hurry to find our dream home, but we do have, you know, high expectations that maybe we are going to find something, because we have looked at a lot of listings online and there are some beautiful options on the market right now. So super, super exciting. But I'm actually going to go ahead and just do some mattes real quick. I'm probably just going to use this palette from Pat McGrath and just do, I'm guessing like these two or these two in my crease. Just do like a very simple neutral base here for one of these or two of these shimmers. All right, so the matte base is down. Obviously, as you could tell, I didn't do anything super fancy. I am gonna put on some of my NYX glitter primer just so we can really see how shiny and beautiful these shimmers are. I'm sure they're gonna be stunning, and I can't wait to put two of these on my eyes. I'm probably gonna try to use 3 if I'm being honest, because I do want to try as many as possible. But that's the thing about sort of these multi-chromes, duochromes, it's really hard to use like a lot of them on the eyes because they all shift, and it's just gonna look weird if you have like 4 different shifts going on. So I definitely want to use this one in my inner corner. I'm thinking maybe one of these and then this one, so like 1, 2, 3 possibly would go nicely together. I could also go more in like the blue direction. Maybe that's what I'll do. That is tempting, honestly. I could use this as sort of a merging shade between the lighter shade that I'm gonna put on. So which one do I want to use? I'm thinking this one is like really calling my name. So maybe we'll do this shade, and this shade, and maybe a bit of this underneath my eye. Sure, why not? Like, that sounds like a good plan. I'm gonna start with this shade actually, which I think I'm gonna love because it looks so beautiful. And I'm just gonna put that basically all over like the middle of my lid, almost all over my lid, honestly. And then I'll kind of blend the other shades over this one. This is just gonna be a beautiful like blue shimmer. I'm having a little bit of fallout with this, a little bit, is it dry or just a little bit flaky? Which is kind of strange since I do have a tacky base on. I think it's just a way it's kind of like picking up on my brush. Probably not going to be a huge deal. I should be able to just kind of wipe off whatever falls on my face, which tends to be the case with like these kind of shimmer shadows. I'm not really too worried about it, but that looks really, really pretty. And it's basically what I expected and what I was hoping for. And like, I really like Bella Beaute Bar's shimmers. Some of them tend to crease a little bit on me, so we'll see kind of how this holds up throughout the day, but I'm sure it will be fine. Just gonna go ahead and do the same on this eye. Next up, let's do the dark shade, and then we'll finish with the inner corner shade after. I'm gonna grab this one, which is the shade called Mimic. I'm just gonna use it on the same brush. This is just a flat brush. It really isn't that important which brush you use. Just anything that's flat that will put down shimmers. I'm gonna put that basically in between the matte and the shimmer here. Just kind of use that as a bit of a blending shade. That is really pretty as well. I'm not someone who uses dark shimmers a lot, but when I do, it's basically for this purpose. I basically use it as a bit of a, not a deepening shade in the outer corner, but just to get a better blend between the mattes and the shimmers. I find this to be pretty helpful, and this isn't the most metallic shade in this palette. It's more of a, it's not a satin, it's definitely not a satin, it's more of like a metallic shade, I guess I would say. But that's doing exactly what I wanted to do, and I think that's very, very pretty. Am I doing a neutral look with a pop of blue? I don't know how we ended up here, don't ask me, don't judge. But I really just like neutrals with blues, okay? Like, don't come for me. Like, listen, 2017 or whenever that was a trend, they had it going. Like, I wish I jumped on that trend back then because I really like the way it looks, but I've come around, okay? Like, that looks pretty. You can't tell me that this doesn't look pretty. And if you do, you're wrong. I'm gonna take the inner corner shade, which is gonna be this one. This one's swatched so beautifully. I'm gonna switch to another brush because I don't want to have any kind of shadow on the brush already. I'm gonna use my 21 from Rephr, and I'm just gonna put that basically in the front. Ooh, so that has a very strong pink shift, which I kind of forgot, but I think that's gonna be kind of cool. I don't think I'm mad at that. I think that's gonna work quite well. It is a little bit of a flaky shade, and I do feel like using the finger with the shade would probably look a little bit better and a little bit smoother. I could also have sprayed it. Right now I don't have anything on my brush. I'm not using, I mean, there should be a little bit of glitter primer on my lid right now, but I feel like not as much as what was underneath the other shades. And it would probably look a little bit smoother if I did put on a little more glitter primer, but I mean, it's looking totally fine. That is really pretty. Yeah, I really like that. I'm gonna go back to the first shade that I used, the blue, just to kind of go over a little bit here to make sure I get a blend between these two colors. Ooh, that looks good. Okay, that is doing exactly what I wanted to do. I'm just gonna kind of merge these a little bit right there. That looks nice. And because I can, and not because I necessarily think it's gonna look the best, I'm gonna use a bit of this shade too. I just know that it's gonna be my favorite shade in the palette, and there's a reason why I didn't use it all over my lid, because like I already knew I was gonna love it, because I just love these kind of shades. I'm just gonna do a little bit of that like right here. Like, I have so many of these shades in my collection already that it's maybe not like that special, but it's just a kind of shade that I love. Like, that is pretty. Like, is this the most cohesive look? Probably not. And I know I said I didn't want to do anything like super out there, but for me that just means having some neutrals in my crease, and then whatever is on my lid will be on my lid. So this is basically gonna be the look, I'm just gonna pop on some lashes, probably do a little bit more blending with the mattes in the outer corner here just to perfect that, but that's gonna be the general idea of the look. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off and I'll come back and show you what I did. I finished off by putting on actually some new lashes that I got from Unicorn Cosmetics. I made another order and I put these in my cart and I don't know how I feel about them. I feel like they're a little too small. And I feel like that says a lot coming from me because I don't really like huge lashes, but I feel like these are just a little too dainty. I mean, they're pretty, but I feel like these would probably look better like if I wasn't wearing eyeshadow. They would actually like show up and look a little more prominent. They're very pretty though. I did cut them quite a bit, so if I'd cut them, I think if I'd cut them from the inside and not the outside, I would have liked them more. These are the ones called Belle because they flared out a lot at the end and I cut off like a lot of that flare because it looked like it would be a little too aggressive, but I think I should have cut them from the other side and then I would have liked them a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, they're pretty lashes, but I don't think they're going to become my favorite, but I think they're going to get the job done for what it is that I was looking for today with more of a subtle-ish saying that as I'm wearing blue eyeshadow, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so let's talk about this palette. So I think that the quality of this is nice. I did have a little bit of fallout with the blue shade, but it did wipe away nicely. I can't speak for the longevity of the shadows because I need to post this video today. So sorry in advance. I'm going to try to maybe use this more in another video. I don't know if I'm going to have time. I do need to start I don't want to promise that I'm going to do my countdown series this year where I do a look with my top 5 palettes. I'm going to try. It might run into next year. I don't know. I just have a lot going on in December and I also just haven't been that motivated and inspired to post videos lately, and like that's okay, and I'm gonna allow myself to just feel unmotivated and not post if I don't want to post. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to make any promises. I'm going to try to have that series up at least. I do have another palette coming from Simply Posh. I literally had to like go and look because I totally forgot what was coming. Anyway, I do have their newest palette coming, so I'll definitely do something with that. So yeah, I think if you like the color story in this palette, if you like Bella Beaute Bar's shimmers normally, I think that you would really like this. If you don't feel like this is too repetitive, you're gonna like this. I think maybe some of these could have been swapped out with something else, but that is just me personally. I do think overall, like all the shadows individually are really, really beautiful, but all put together in a palette, it might not be the all shimmer palette that I am gonna reach for the most. Those are just going to be my thoughts. So yeah, all the information about the launch will be down below in my description box. I also do have an affiliated code, which is just Annette. Will save you some money if you are interested in picking it up. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see some other Bella Beaute Bar content, I will put my playlist up on the screen. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.